Somewhere right now, a talented person is sitting on their couch.
And somewhere else, someone with average ability is putting in their 1,000th hour of work.
Guess who wins? Not the talented one. Not even close.
This video is about why consistency beats talent every single time. And what you can do starting today to use that truth to your advantage.
Let us start with a story.
In 1978, a young man walked into a boxing gym in Philadelphia. He had no natural gifts. His hands were slow. His footwork was average. The trainer almost turned him away.
But that young man came back every single day. When others left, he stayed.
When others rested, he trained. When others quit, he showed up again. 10 years later, he was a world champion.
Not because of talent. Because of consistency.
This story plays out in every field, every industry, every discipline.
The most successful people in the world are rarely the most talented.
They are the most consistent.
Now, why does this happen? Why does consistency beat talent? The first reason is what scientists call the compounding effect of skill.
Every time you practice something, your brain builds neural pathways. The more you practice, the stronger those pathways become. And here is the critical part: the growth is not linear.
It is exponential.
In the beginning, progress is almost invisible. You practice for weeks and see almost no change.
This is where talented people quit. Because they are used to things coming easily. When it gets hard, they walk away.
But the consistent person stays.
They trust the process even when the process seems broken.
And then something remarkable happens.
The compounding kicks in. Progress that was invisible becomes undeniable. Skills that seemed impossible become automatic.
And suddenly, the consistent person has lapped the talented one who quit.
The second reason consistency beats talent is reliability. Talent impresses people once. Consistency builds trust over time. Think about the people you rely on most in your life. Are they the most brilliant? Or are they the most dependable? In business, clients do not hire the most talented agency.
They hire the one that shows up, delivers, and never disappears. In sports, coaches do not start the most gifted player. They start the one who gives 100% every single game. In relationships, people do not love who is most charming. They love who shows up consistently, through the good and the bad.
Consistency is the currency of trust. And trust opens more doors than talent ever could.
The third reason is something called deliberate repetition.
Talent is a starting point, not a destination.
Every skill you admire in someone was built through repetition. The surgeon's steady hands came from thousands of procedures. The writer's fluid sentences came from millions of written words.
The musician's effortless performance came from decades of practice. None of it was born. All of it was built.
And the only way to build it is through consistent, deliberate repetition. Anders Ericsson, the researcher behind the 10,000-hour rule, found something fascinating.
The difference between experts and amateurs was not talent.
It was the quality and quantity of deliberate practice.
Experts practiced more. And they practiced better.
They focused on their weaknesses instead of playing to their strengths.
That is the secret of consistent people.
They do not avoid discomfort.
They seek it.
Because they know that discomfort is where growth lives.
Now let us talk about the talent trap. Being talented can actually be a curse. Here is why. When things come easily to you, you never develop the tolerance for struggle. You never build the muscle of persistence. You never learn how to fail and keep going. So when the inevitable hard moment arrives, you collapse. Carol Dweck, the Stanford psychologist, spent decades studying this.
She found that children praised for their intelligence became risk-averse. They avoided challenges because they feared losing their label of being smart.
But children praised for their effort became resilient.
They welcomed challenges. They bounced back from failure. They improved faster over time. Because the process was their identity, not the outcome. This is the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. And it all comes back to consistency. Now let us get practical. How do you build consistency? The first principle is to lower the bar until it feels ridiculous. Seriously. Make it so easy that you have no excuse not to do it. Want to write every day? Start with one sentence. Want to exercise every day? Start with 5 minutes. Want to read every day? Start with one paragraph. The goal is not the output. The goal is the identity. You are becoming someone who writes, who trains, who reads every day. The second principle is to anchor your habit to something already fixed in your day. After I pour my morning coffee, I will open my notebook. After I brush my teeth, I will do 10 push-ups. After I sit at my desk, I will write 1 page. This is called habit stacking. And it works because you borrow momentum from existing behaviors. The third principle is to measure streaks, not results. In the beginning, your results will be underwhelming. That is normal. That is expected. That is part of the process. What you should celebrate is the streak. Day 3. Day 10. Day 30. Day 100. Each number is proof that you are becoming a different person. The fourth principle is to protect your consistency like a non-negotiable. Not a goal. Not a wish. A commitment. The same way you do not negotiate with breakfast or sleep. Your habit gets the same respect. Now let us talk about what happens at the 1-year mark. If you practice one skill consistently for 1 year, you will be in the top 10%. Not because you are special. Because almost no one else does it. Most people quit in the first month. The ones who make it to 3 months are rare. The ones who make it to 1 year are exceptional. Not because of what they did. Because of how long they kept doing it. Now I want to address something that holds most people back. The comparison trap. You see someone 3 years ahead of you and you feel defeated. You feel like you will never get there. You do not see the 3 years of consistency behind their result. You only see the highlight. Not the grind. The only person you should compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. Are you 1% better today than you were yesterday? That is all consistency asks of you. 1% better. Every day. 4 years. Do you know what 1% compounded daily for 1 year looks like? You become 37 times better. 37 times. In 1 year. From 1% a day. That is the mathematics of consistency. Now let us talk about what you should do when motivation disappears. Because it will. Motivation is a visitor. It comes and goes. Consistency is the resident. It stays. When motivation is gone, you do not need to feel inspired. You just need to show up. Even badly. Even slowly. Even when you hate every second of it. Because showing up builds momentum. And momentum eventually brings the motivation back. Most people wait for motivation before they act. The consistent person acts first, and lets motivation follow the action. That is the secret the talented never learn. Let us bring it all together. Talent is a gift. Consistency is a choice. Gifts are distributed unevenly. Choices are available to everyone. That means the playing field is more level than you think. You may not be the most talented person in the room. But you can be the most consistent. And over time, that will make you the most successful. Every industry has a graveyard of talented people who never showed up consistently. And every industry has stories of average people who became legends. Because they showed up when no one else did. They kept going when everyone else stopped. They trusted the process when the results were invisible. And one day, the results became impossible to ignore. That is what consistency does. It turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. It turns the average into the elite. It turns potential into reality. So today, I want to ask you one question. What is the one thing you would do differently if you committed to consistency for the next year? Write it down. Not on your phone. On paper. And start today. Not Monday. Not next month. Today. Because the best time to start was a year ago. The second best time is right now. Talent will take you far for a short time. Consistency will take you everywhere for a lifetime. Choose consistency. Every single day.